Hi, and welcome to the Conscious Marketer podcast. I'm Richard Taubinger, one of the co-hosts, and joined by Kylie Slavak. Hi, Kylie.
Hey.
And today we have a special treat. We're going to be talking to Casey Neal, and she was in one of our recent programs, and we're going to highlight some of the work that she does. She does a lot of things. I'll let her explain all of that. I'm going to pass it over to Kylie, who is going to kick it off for us.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to have you here, Casey, because you're just a dear friend of mine, and it was such a joy and honor to kind of roll you through the first version of the Conscious Launch Accelerator. And you have a very interesting and amazing backstory, so I'm just really curious to start with that. Like, who are you? What are you about? Where do you come from?
No, thank you both for having me on here. So I currently am a co-founder and CEO of a business with my business partner, Kimmy Inch, called Eros and Kink. Right now, that's our working title, but we actually had a new one kind of come up, which we're really excited about that we're going to launch within the next few months. But I and Kimmy specialize in basically changing the paradigm around BDSM, conscious kink, and utilizing things like the erotic blueprints, trauma-informed care, somatics, oh my gosh. And then we bring in also esoterics and spirituality, tantra, and a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, I have a master's in mental health counseling with a focus in trauma and sex and intimacy issues. I'm an erotic blueprint coach, and the erotic blueprints were created by Jaya Ma, and they're basically the 5 love languages for sex, pleasure, desire, and turn on. And so the work that Kimmy and I do is basically taking all of these different frameworks, all of these different modalities, smooshing them together, and basically teaching people how to actually have all of their desires get met. We truly believe that if you have a desire, if you have a vision, specifically in the sex and intimacy realm, that you can have it met. And it can be done with ease, and it can be done with grace, and it can be done with elegance. And we know that by working in the sexuality realm, there's so much wrapped into it. There's so many beliefs. Religion's wrapped into it. How we grew up is wrapped into it. The media is wrapped up into it. And so what we believe is that if we can support people in working through their blocks, their limiting beliefs, and anything else in the way within sex and intimacy issues, it actually spreads out everywhere. And so people, their whole lives get to change once they say yes to themselves and all of that fun stuff.
That's amazing. It's such a needed work in the world. Can you maybe share how people find you when they come to you? What is the language that they're using when they come to you? Because for some it's easy, and for others it's not so easy.
Yeah, so I feel really blessed that most of my work has come from people who know me. This is just something like it's more mainly referral based. My business partner, Kimmy Inch, people find her. She's been a professional dominatrix for over 20 years. She's also been a somatic therapist for over 5. And so her way of reaching people is through Instagram and through TikTok. And so what she does really beautifully is she takes these really taboo subjects and she puts comedy to it. So she has these great reels around, like making fun of kink. One of the biggest ones that's happened recently is this thing called the Navigate Tricks. So she's driving it around in her car. And so the navigation is basically pretending that they're a dominatrix. So it's kind of like yelling at her as she's driving around. And so she just brings a lot of humor and a lot of fun to a world that most of the time people just are really scared to talk about. And there's kind of this initial thought when people think of kink, they think it's going to be like dark. They think it's, in a dungeon. They think it's like, power over someone else. And for us, we're really, our main business, our S Corp is called, TBD International, and it stands for Two Blonde Doms. And so we try to just like poke fun at and understand where our privilege lies. And we really want to utilize it so that it makes this world actually feel really safe. It feels really like people can, it's tangible. It's something that they can touch. And so we bring a lot of sensuality to it. We bring the energetics to it. And so oftentimes people are looking for these things like, how do I get my partner interested in kink? Because it's something that, so let me back up just a little bit. So when we talk about kink, the definition that we use is that you're turned on by the taboo that you personally consider taboo. So it could be as extreme as whips and chains and, degradation, stuff like that. But it could be as simple as, doing a different style of sexuality, a different movement, say like doggy style, let's use that, right? Can feel really taboo. It can bring up those feelings of like, well, I don't know if it's safe to share this with my partner. There might be something like, I don't know if they're going to judge me. So, taboo is very open-ended. And so we really play in that so that it makes it, it makes it like everybody's got it. We truly believe that everybody's got some form of kink. They consider something in their life taboo, or they're a little embarrassed, or they're a little like, I don't know if I can share this. And so with that, we're like, great, that's a perfect place to start, because you can actually have what you want, and it can be really safe, and it can actually take your relationship and deepen it even more with your partner, not just with your partner, but also deepen it within yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely important work. And I know that we've talked about, and you just mentioned your business partner using TikTok and Instagram and things of that nature. I know that you and I have had a lot of conversations about using social media, or particularly using paid ads when you just can't. Like, you can't advertise on YouTube, you can't advertise on Facebook. It's like, boom, you'll lose all your accounts. You'll lose your social security number. You'll lose your house. No, I'm just kidding. But they're not into it.
You're actually not that far off.
Yeah, I mean, they're not into it, right? It's a threat, and it's all these different things. And I think we've seen, even in the last couple of years, more and more and more categories of things being pulled off the platforms. So if you're, I just heard recently that you can't advertise spirituality anymore, which I personally disagreed with it when I saw it, because we do it every day. So I don't think that's quite true. But, there's an anxiety that people have, that business owners have around that type of stuff. And so, one of the reasons I thought that you came to work with us a little bit was to figure out another way. And how are you going to get around this, and what are you going to do? So was there anything about the last, 6 months of sort of journeying together in that way that you discovered that you can do online?
That's a really great question. So, one of the things that Kimmy and I put to the side was even just trying to do ads. It's really something that we felt like, after kind of like learning a little bit about it, we're actually not ready for that. And I'm like, why worry about that when we already have some great traffic that's coming in from other areas? And so we were like, it's probably easier, especially in the work that we're doing right now, to build the organic. And so I think what was really helpful with you guys was really getting clear on, let's focus on organic first. Let's build even more of what we already have. And how do we do that in a better way? So one of the things with Kimmy's work that she had already been doing before her and I jumped in together was that her audience hadn't been trained to buy. So they were consuming, and they were, gathering all of this amazing information from her, but we didn't have anything to offer them. She did have, she's got, her own private work that she was doing, but there was no like promotion of it. It was just kind of like in her bio. And so one of the things that we utilized a lot of the work that you offered in your programs was that we were really working with how to train our audience in a way that was organic, to know that they could buy from us. And so one of the main reasons for hiring you guys and signing up for the Launch Accelerator was because neither one of us had launched a program before. I have been a part of many launches for well over a decade, but I had never run one myself. So this is all really new to jump into. And so I wanted to do it right the first time. And I really wanted to learn, like, okay, how do I do this? And I've been following you two forever, Kylie. We've been friends for a long time. So I knew that what your work in the world was amazing. And so I was like, these guys clearly know what they're doing. And it sounds like a one-stop shop. And like, I'm like, great. I'm such a yes to that. I would love it all in one place. And it was. So that was really helpful. So we decided, I can't remember when you guys launched, but I think you launched maybe October or something like that. And we decided at the end of October, okay, we're going to do our very first course and we're going to launch it for Cyber Monday. And so we just utilized everything that was in the program, really going step by step by step. And that first program that we launched it through Kajabi. Within 2 weeks, we hit 10K, which was amazing. Again, I have no audience really. Like, I'm private everywhere. So don't even try to follow me. Go follow Kimmy, but I'm private everywhere. And I want to keep it that way. Go follow her. But, it was, all we did were we sent out 4 emails, which was a little bit of what we did was a little unconventional. We sent out 4 emails. We did a live, utilizing a lot of what you talked about, Richard. And one of the bonuses was like how to do a video to talk to your audience. And then we did a few social media posts. And then, like I said, within 2 weeks, just from the organic traffic that we had already and the kind of reputation that both of us had, it was 10K and we were like, this is awesome. Like, this works. It was so nice to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, another one. Like, look at our email. And so it was just really fun for both of us to be like, okay, this works. And like, what can we do even better? So from that, I think we still had like 2.5 months left of the program. And so we brought in our big event, which is a 4-day live event. It's called My Kinky Valentine. So it was the first time we're running it. We're going to run it every year. And we decided to do it through ClickFunnels, but we just followed every step of the way, from the headlines, from how do we want to offer this. It's a little different because I know in the program it talks about like modules and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, well, how do we do this in events? So we were able to like break down our event as if they were modules. And we're like, great, we're just going to give this and do this live instead of doing it on a video. And then, we've got a lead magnet, which you guys helped us with. Like, we had an order bump, which was really fun. So we took it up just a little notch. And we had a lot of fun. And it was just so great because the information was right there. We could watch the videos. The sample PDFs were so helpful. And it allowed us to actually be in our creativity and be in our visionary and like artistry versus like having to research how to do it all on our own. And so it was just like, oh, so great. And then to have the two of you guys every week on a call where it's like, okay, I have a question and like maybe I could get it answered. And just, one of the calls, Richard, we were on like the last, like, I think 4 or 5 that we needed to sell. And you're like, okay, this is how you can send that one email out to everybody, to your audience, because you already have people. And we do. I mean, we sold out within a month of having it launched.
For your live
event. For our live event. So our live event with the order bumps, with we added on like an additional night that other people could come to that were in our audience or that had come to events that we had done previously before we were officially a business. I mean, we hit well over $40,000 for a 4-day event.
That's amazing.
So thank you.
Great work. I'm kind of curious because a lot of people or one of the myths that people have is, look, I can only do this. Well, one of the things people say is I can't do this online. They're like, I have to be in person. And so I think you've probably gotten over that. But I'm kind of curious about the other myth, which is I have to teach this one-on-one or the group programs don't work. And I'm kind of curious what your thoughts on that, because it sounds like probably in the past you were doing more kind of individual kind of work, and then you've just shifted to the group program. What's your experience of doing that, the results, and how people, manage the group versus the individual?
Yeah, thank you. That's such a great question because, from the group, we didn't do any sales at the event. We did a a debrief call where we could actually genuinely check in with everybody. And then we had an invitation for, if you want to go more, we're going to do something completely separate from this call so that there's actually a clean break between everything. So we've gone from group to doing more individual. And honestly, like, we loved the group. We loved the, yes, it was in person. And I know that we could also do this online. So that's really cool. We could transition the two if we wanted to, from in person to online. But it was truly amazing. The impact that we were able to give the whole group, right, was beyond what we could have done with each individual. Not only did everybody get to like be in the same place and be really held and be really supported, but they got to play off of each other as well, right? So somebody would ask a question and then the whole group would get to hear the answer or get to go through an exercise or get to experience something. And I think what's really important about the group, and this also comes from my trauma background and working as a therapist, is that so many of us believe that we're the only ones dealing with the issues that we're dealing with. And, a lot of that, especially like with depression and anxiety and the traumas that we've experienced, the activations that we have in life, we get this kind of closed in, like, I'm the only one suffering from this. I'm the only one dealing with this. And the reality is, like, you're not. And I get that that can be really hard to hear when you're in it. However, when you're with other people, you then realize, oh my God, I'm not alone. And a couple of the things that we heard from our clients from that event specifically was like, oh my God, I finally feel like I belong. So beyond anything Kimmy and I even could have thought of would have happened. And, we also heard from a number of people saying that, like, this feels like ceremony space. So if we take it to the energetic, we take it to the spiritual, Kimmy and I are not there preaching. We're just kind of like, here's what we know and here's what we've learned. And like, you get to be held in a really sacred container. And they're just like, this feels like a ceremony. It feels like a ritual, but it's not, the spirituality that we oftentimes think about it. It's just like, you're so welcome. There's no judgment here at all, which in the sexuality field, especially, we are so judgmental of ourselves. And so getting to be in a group where you're not judged, where you can speak your truth, where you can be honored for your truth, and you can also be lovingly and gently guided in a different direction if it's not working, if there is a block or if there is something that's getting in the way, you have the availability to go, okay, I have a group here and I have these two incredible women that can help guide me into reframing and getting to experience something else. So one-on-one is fantastic. We do love doing that, but there is just something about being in a sacred container and being with other people where you just automatically up-level each other in desires, in possibilities, in, oh my God, I never would have thought about that, right? Like, I've experienced that with you guys, like with the depth of information that you have, the experience that you have. What I love about the live calls is it's like, I didn't even know to ask that. It's like, oh, that's brilliant. I never would have thought about that, right? We don't know what we don't know. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's like, I love how you really focus on safety, because in that container of safety, then people can be, vulnerable and can share and can open up. And then if you're not as courageous, but then the person next to you starts to speak, then it almost gives you permission to open up a bit more, Yeah,
totally. And I think that's the thing, not only with us, but I think with anybody who's running a group program or even just working with clients, like if we're talking about like first chakra stuff, right? That's trust, that's safety, that's security, that's a strong foundation. That's what all of us really want. That's what we're looking for in the world. And if we can receive that from whoever's in kind of the leadership role, then that allows for more self-expression, that allows for more creativity, that allows for more of our power to kind of come out, where like we feel safe in speaking what our truth is and seeing what our visions are, right? So there's this beauty that can be co-created in those spaces.
I love that. And I find that it's even true in marketing. So like, you're obviously in a place where safety is very, very, it could be life or death for some people, or really impact their mental health. And I love that you said that both of you are trained in mental health. I think that's super important to recognize and to understand that you're really qualified to deal with the stuff as it comes up, you know. And I also find, in a different way, in a less serious way probably, in our marketing groups, and this has been the case for me for 10 years, is that there's also a degree of safety that needs to happen, because people feel very, very vulnerable with putting themselves out there. And I used to actually call myself a marketing therapist. I was like, man, I'm trying to teach you how to build a funnel and you're crying, and like, I have some basic coaching skills and lots of spiritual training. So I was able to handle that and understand how to hold that and things like that. But it was interesting for me when you were talking about that. I just came to a place where I realized no matter what our offer is, we have to recognize that safety is key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, you know, I think people are getting tired of the bro marketing. They're getting tired of the very bro sales, right? They're tired. We've all dealt with it. We've all been through it. And so I think, you know, creating safety, becoming a trusted authority, but also not putting yourself on a pedestal and being very clear. I don't want you to put me on a pedestal. Like we're here to give information, but like what Kimmy and I have really learned is that like our clients trust us more when our humanity shows, when our tears are there, not that we're using our clients. And so there's right, that fine line. And I see this in the coaching world where it gets way too blurry, and oftentimes the line gets crossed. I'm not utilizing my clients to heal me. That's why I have a therapist. That's why Kimmy has a therapist. That's why we have coaches. Our clients are not there to heal us. We're only going to share what is coming up for us if it's relatable to our clients to help and support them get to the next level and the next layer of their life. And so there is this space of, you know, tears can be present in our work. Sharing can be present in our work. Our stories are really important, but I'm not going to use my story for you to heal me. I'm going to go do that. I remember Brene Brown. I heard her speak a couple of years ago, and she shared on stage. She's like, I never share a story if there's emotion still attached to it, because I don't need the audience to take care of me. Because if the audience thinks that they have to take care of me, then that shifts the dynamic, and then it becomes really, really wonky. So, you know, I really got taught that also in therapy. Like, it's not, when I was working with my clients, it's not my client's job to take care of me. If I'm triggered or something comes up for me, it's like, okay, here's just the next level and layer for me to go get support. And so this is also where I think the safety needs to come too. Like, our clients need to know that they can be themselves and we can hold them, and they don't have to take care of us. Because if they take care of us, then the power exchange.
I feel like I share that with all of my clients when I'm teaching storytelling, where it's like, if it's still sticky for you, if you're still traumatized by it, do not talk about it. You're going to traumatize your audience. You're going to drag them through the mud. There's actually a part of the brain, I learned, where it can't tell the difference between a story and reality. So if it's hearing all this trauma and drama, then that's where the person goes. And so we're actually, you know, I agree with you. We don't need our audience to take care of us, but on an even other level, it's like we don't want to put them into shock and trauma. So when people share their origin stories with me over the years to critique, that's most of the time, that's the number one thing that I'm going to say to them is like, soften the blow a little bit. Like, I get that you've been through a lot, and let's sugarcoat it a little bit. Like, there's a time and a place.
Yeah, it's not, I'm right there with you. It's not about going into the details of the story. It's, here's the relatable aspect, and then here's actually how I was able to get on the other side of it. So, right, it brings them into the, like, I'm not alone. She gets me, right? I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel loved. I feel understood, which is really all people want in general. And so if that aspect is there, then it's like, oh, now I'm ready to listen to what you have to say. Like, you've been there. You're not still there, right? We're not going to be, what does Brene Brown talk about? It's like, it's not don't go in the hole with me. So now we're both stuck in the hole, right? It's, no, I see you. I've been there. Here's a ladder. This is what worked for me. Do you want to try it? Right? That's all it is like, try the ladder. The ladder doesn't work. Let's try something else, right? We'll bring something else in. So it's like, I'm not here to fix you. You're not broken. Nobody is broken. Nobody needs to be fixed. It's just, there might be this little thing that's kind of getting in the way from getting you where you want to be and what you want to do. And so like, let's try a couple things and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. And if not, like Kimmy and I are like, we'll refer you. Like, we have no problem. Much rather like go to somebody else who might have done it. But like, here's the options. Here's what we've tried. And then if it doesn't work, let's try something else. So,
I want to return to something you were saying earlier, that you get a lot of business from referrals. And, I think that when it's easy to get leads and you can market and advertise, I think there's a tendency for, some creators to just focus on new people coming in, and they kind of forget that really what you really should be, a lot of your attention should just be on creating the best transformational experience, and either then bringing those people that come in to a deeper level, whatever that means, with whatever you teach, or like businesses can grow just by word of mouth, and I think that when you're in an industry like yours, or there's a lot of them, even like natural foods and alternative healthcare, there's like a lot that just get banned. The referral business is even more important. I'm kind of just curious, with referrals, is there anything that you do to help encourage people to refer you, or does it just happen naturally?
Currently, it just happens naturally. We do have a number of people who are asking to be a part of affiliates, and, that is a part of what we do. We do offer, kind of 10% across the board for anybody who refers us somebody. And, we're trying to figure out, we tell our clients this, we're like, we are not tech goddesses. We are dominatrixes. Like, things are going to get totally screwed up. Like, we have screwed up so many things. Like, so, that's where our kind of humanity comes into this. Like, we're trying to figure out how to run an affiliate program, and we have no freaking clue. Right. So a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it is like, what's the value we can provide other people's groups? Are there places that we can go and speak? Are there things that we can share? That's always been a big one for me, is just like having kind of conversations and then dropping little bombs when people are ready for them and they consent to them. I'm like, here's something you might want to think about. And then they're like, wow, you know a lot of information. Like, do you want to come speak to my group, or do you want to come share something? I'm like, that would be wonderful. But I'm all about relationships, and I'm all about creating rapport. I'm also all about long-term clients. And I really don't think the industry talks about this enough. I feel like, I'm very curious to your guys' thoughts on this as well, because you've done so many launches and worked with so many people, but I feel like more companies focus on getting new clients, and they forget the value of their current clients. So for me and for Kimmy, it's how do we create long-term relationships with the clients that we already have, so that, right, they're getting incredible transformations. From there, they're sharing with their family and friends. That's free marketing, right? Like, we're not having to pay for marketing. We're not having to pay for ads. We're not having to like really do anything. Those, they become our raving fans, but they also become, the ones that are just like, anything you launch, I'll buy. They're like, give me more, give me more, give me more. And, I feel like people forget how important current clients are, and like being of service to them. And then, because it's like, it's unknown possibilities from there. And I know that can be really scary, because I don't know if you can actually like create stats and analyze it fully, right? Like we can sometimes with some other things, but there really is something about like, no, let's create a relationship together. We're not in relationship, right? But let's create a relationship so that we can continue to be of service. And if we're not of service, like, oh, here's someplace else you can go. And we still love.
I absolutely love that. And I agree. I think that not enough people do think about that. And then I think there's people who try to hang on to their clients and keep selling them the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and keeping them dependent. So it has to be really truly authentic and service based, which it sounds like you're doing and coming from that place. And if you can truly continue to provide a different level of value, I think you're right. People don't necessarily pay enough attention to that, myself included sometimes. And one thing that caught my attention as you've been speaking is, it seems to me like you have these beautiful organic strategies that you've been doing to build things up. And then we kind of came in and taught you some processes that were a little different than that, or that you could layer on top of the organic to make it more sustainable, more scalable. So I love that. I think it's awesome. So I'm curious, I love talking about this and people don't like to talk about it, but as far as the material that you shared with us, what did you find difficult to implement?
Oh, this is great. I love give me the juicy topics that no one wants to talk about. These are my favorite things. Kimmy and I have really struggled with the origin story. That's been like one that's been really hard for us to kind of like nail down. Like, what do we want to share? How do we want to do this? How do we go about it? So that's been like, that was like, we still haven't done it. Like, it's like, it feels like it should be like the easiest thing. And we have avoided it and avoided it and avoided it and not done it. We still haven't done it. So there's that one. And then not marketing, but like emails. Emails are something that like, man, we don't want to do it. And so we've got 70 pages of like your best marketing copy emails that are, I printed them all out because I was like, maybe if I print them out, we will do it. And we still haven't done it, Kylie. We still haven't done it. And it's like, it's right there. All you have to do is like change some words. And we're like, no. So that has been like, I'd rather sit there and spend 40 hours building a ClickFunnels website, which I did learn how to do. I now know how to do it and I never want to do it again, but I know how to do it.
It does sound like you did send out some emails successfully though.
We've sent out a few, but nothing's, I think the last one we sent out was like the beginning of January, and we're past. Well,
I think it's it's a pretty common thing because everybody has their favorite mode, but I think for a lot of people, video is that. For some people, it's like social media. Like in fact, I was just talking to somebody, and they're like, if I get on Facebook, I just get ill right away. I feel bad. And so. And for others, it's emails. It's always something that could be used. And I think that part of it is just, for us, we just always are asking, how can we provide some more value? And that's just another way to get it to them. But if I sit down and write an email, like, how do I write an email just to stay in connection so that I can sell somebody something in a couple months, then it doesn't work as well. Because the intent behind that isn't as good as like, hey, let's just provide some value to our audience. I know, Kylie, we've been doing some lives in a Facebook group every week, and that's just literally what we ask. We just like, how can we provide this group some value? Like, what's something we can teach them that can provide value. So keep going on the emails, Casey, because people want to hear from you. You said it earlier, like people just keep waiting for us to offer something. And that's true. When you build that rapport and that relationship, people are just sitting there saying, I wish these girls or whoever it is would just offer something because I want to buy something. They're like hungry for it.
Yeah, it's so funny because of the not this past event that we did, but we did another event in September that was kind of like the beta for what we're doing now for our signature events. We had no offer. We hadn't even thought about it. It was more just like delivering value. And one of my good girlfriends was there and she was like, I want more. How do I do this? And like went on Kimmy's website and she was like, I want even more than this. So like wound up getting on a phone call with her. And I was like, all right, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Tell me what you want. She was like, I want everything. I want every single thing you're doing, every single thing you're planning on doing. She's like, I want it all. And I was like, okay, here's what it would look like to work with us for an entire year. And she was like, great, I'm in. I was like, wow, that was the easiest sale ever. That was awesome.
Yeah, what's funny about that too is those are your best clients. They're not like, hey, can I have a $50 discount or do you have a scholarship? They're just like, can you just send me the payment link and I'll just send you the money all at once. I don't need a payment plan.
Yeah, it's
they're just all in. I love that.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate that the majority of our clients are kind of like, we're all in. And like you said, Richard, they're just kind of like waiting. And, we kind of unintentionally stumbled upon our niche and are like, great, let's go with it. Let's go with the kind of like average human who really knows nothing about sexuality, but like knows there's more and is like, I want more, I guess. And we're like, here's something, give it a try. And they're like, oh, this is fun. This is great. And there's a lot of transformation.
I love that. And it just attests to how trustworthy you are and how people feel like your work is really truly changing their life. And so I just have one last question for you. And that is, we talked about what didn't work, or not what didn't work, but what was hard for you about the marketing stuff. What was easy? What was fun? What did you really love about it?
Like, I loved learning the tech side from you guys. Like, I was able to kind of put everything together based on all the information. And I think what I loved the most was being given the tech opportunity of like, now that you've done it, like off the computer, if you will, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'm in Google Docs or I've put some pictures together, but actually like, here's how you put it together and then putting it together and then launching it. And then have people look at it and be like, this is amazing. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, right? It's not my own. I mean, maybe they're biased, but I like to believe that people, if they didn't like it, just won't say anything for the most part. But just, that, and then having the sales come in. I was like, oh my gosh, people, this is really easy. They understand it. They actually want this. And it wasn't about the money, but it was like, oh, this is really awesome. We've given them something really easy to say yes to. And the whole process was really, honestly, everything that you guys put together, it was so easy. It's not that it was easy. It was, you were able to do it with ease. There was work that was in it, that was provided. There was examples that were provided. The videos were absolutely incredible, the way that it was just broken down. So it was done in a way that was really simple, and it did take effort, but you were able to do it with I was able to do it with a lot of ease. And I've been in this industry for over 15 years, the marketing, coaching, consulting, and I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, including my own education. This program it was like, duh. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. There's just kind of like, duh. Of course this is how you do it. Like, why wasn't it told to me this way years ago? This would have made my life so easy. And I would have had so many other programs out there. Like, it just was like, and it's fine because I love where I'm at right now. I'm so grateful for the company we've created. This company wouldn't be happening if it was that way before. However, I just feel really grateful to have it. I feel really grateful to be able to go back to it in different areas if we wind up getting stuck. Thank you. All of it. I just felt a lot of pleasure going through it. So thank you for giving me a program that felt pleasurable, that was done with ease, and that actually, I don't even know what the numbers are based on what we made, but the investment in the ROI,
thank you so much.
Incredible.
Well, it's super, super flattered, and that's amazing. I'm so glad you had such a great experience. I love when you said, give your clients an offer that's easy to say yes to. I think like that statement there, you kind of epitomizes what you've done for your own clients and what we also try to do as well. Kind of to wrap it up here, I'm kind of curious, what do you have planned for the future? You have more programs launched and more live events, and if people want to get a hold of you, how do they find out more about you?
Yeah, so the best way to get a hold of us is to go on Instagram or TikTok, and you can look up Kimmy Inch, and it's KIMIINCH. She's that on both of them, and then she's got the links in the bios. Or you can email us at yesmoreplease at erosandkink.com. And some of the things we have coming up. So we will be doing this event. It's called Something More. It was called My Kinky Valentine, but we'll be doing Something More every quarter. So it's a 4-day event. We have a Dom mastery slash like certification program. So if anyone's interested in learning how to be their own personal dominatrix or Dom or master in the world, we're going to be teaching that, and that's going to be happening in June. We have a couple other live events that are going to be happening throughout the year, and then we do offer 2-on-1 individual, somatic-based coaching programs within the sex, intimacy, BDSM, erotic blueprints world. So, and then, we're always open for different workshops. If people want to come in and talk to us, we are developing a program for businesses because the way that we teach our work is based on leader-follower. So similar to how it's done in dance versus like dominatrix submission. One's just a leader and one's a follower. And so it's a co-creation of power together. So there's really beautiful ways of doing that in business. And so we will be creating that specifically, really helping, women and marginalized communities really start to understand their own power and how they can utilize it to, shift and change the world, which they're already doing. And if there's any way that we can help empower that even more, that.
Heck yeah, amen.
Well, thanks, Casey, for sharing your experiences, telling us about your business. Also, I think it's just amazing to see your results and also to see how you're getting your work out through marketing to help people who want your work. So thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you. And for all your listeners, you can get this episode and the show notes and all the links that Casey mentioned. You can also go to consciousmarketer.com/podcast. And thank you for listening. Thank you again, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
Both. Thank you for having me. Thank you.